All right. So we're playing here today, everyone. Everyone that's tuning into this and watching it in the future. Just know that we are here with you, body, mind, heart, and soul. We are excited to share thoughts, ponderings, wisdom that we receive from all around us. And yeah, so we're going to introduce ourselves. We should have probably thought about this. Maybe we should have introduced each other. Maybe, but maybe we'll work on that. Today,
Yes,
today we're going to have a lot of compassion for ourselves.
we are playing. This is a first. But I think it's really important to see progress too. So it is really fun to see how things begin, and then you can look back and say, wow, look how things start, because I think everything does. Sometimes when things get put out there, it's this finished product, and I think it's often I know for myself, I've looked at things and not recognized the path to get there. And there's always a path to get there. And so I think it can be really beautiful to see the beginning stages of something and have it be a little bit clunky.
I love that. I love that. And that even gives me more freedom to allow a little clunkiness in and allow a little more ease to see where this flows today.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
Do
So.
you want to start, gorgeous? Introduce everyone. I mean, introduce yourself to all the people that are going to be watching you.
Okay, yeah, so it is interesting. We have literally just trusted the universe to guide us in this. I have nothing prepped, so we're just going to kind of flow. And we'll see how much of a sense of humor the universe has. So I am a somatic stress release practitioner. I am soon to be a certified neurosomatic intelligence practitioner as well. I work with empaths, intuitives, and sensitives to help reduce, release, and recover from chronic stress, anxiety, and overwhelm. In a nutshell.
Wow, that was really well spoken. And also, I just want to say that Anita is a really sensitive empath and a beautiful intuitive. And when she receives, it's just so the messages that come through are so loving and so spot on. And I just want to acknowledge that and say what an honor it is to be creating this with Anita. When we met, literally, we met online because I'm an assistant in a program, and she was one of my mentees. And immediately, the minute we met, I was like, "Wait, we're going to be working together. I just know something in the future is going to come of this." And we didn't have any idea what that would be at the time.
Yeah.
But here we are.
But here we are, and that's the trust, and that's the openness. And I'm so thrilled. Thank you, Shannon. That was so beautiful what you shared about me. So I cannot say enough about Shannon either. Just this absolutely radiant, beautiful soul that as soon as in fact, I actually saw Shannon on a video through the coursework. I could see her, like she would teach on video, and I hadn't even met her in person. And I reached out because I wanted to work with her in person after just seeing, because she was so radiant, even just through the video. I just thought this is somebody I have to meet. And um, I just can't say enough about what a beautiful heart and just amazing soul and presence that Shannon is. And it is an honor to know her and to work with her. And I am so excited to create with you. And yeah, I'm just thrilled to be here. So thank you.
Thank you. That was so touching. Thank you. Um, so I am Shannon Emerson, and titles are hard, like we do so many things. Yes, I am a somatic release practitioner. I help women move and empaths. I help them move their stress, their trauma out of their body. I'm also a holistic movement specialist, and I'm also an intuitive and an energy worker. And so I combine all of this into one practice. And um, I my I think my one of my pillars in life is my main pillar in life is authenticity and just being me and being able to share that with the world. And this is I just want to bring this up with Anita because the minute that we start to chat, we are our authentic selves and we can just go 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 go, which is why we decided to create this podcast because as we were just chatting amongst ourselves, we would go so deep and we're really sharing the path that we live. This is how we live our lives. This is we're both very sensitive empaths, and we wanted to share with the world how we and we're both mm, quite we'll never be fully healed, like that's just the way it is. We're always healing. The world is always, going to take a piece out and we're going to have to like repair it, but we've both been doing the work for ourselves for a long time. So for us to be able to, we wanted to kind of share what it is like to be someone that has been on that other side where they've been like, oh, the world feels so heavy, so hard as a sensitive empath. And then to get to this more healed space in our lives, and then be able to share how we navigate the world and how we just deal with everything, what it's like to be moving through the world in a totally different place than where we were even, 3 years ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago. We want to give others hope. And mhm. So there's
Mhm.
just going to be a lot of authentic conversation, and we never know where it's going to roll, to be honest.
That is absolutely accurate. We do not. But I have to say, I love that word hope. That is just a word that I feel is hope's kind of radical because it can be so hard to maintain hope, especially now. And as an empath, as an intuitive, as a sensitive, it can be very challenging at times, and it can be difficult to hang on to that hope. So I love that. That's exactly one of the reasons why I wanted to do this. Um, I have been through, and you have been through life, as everyone is, right? And I am not here to say I'm an expert, but I am here to say that I am happy to walk alongside of you. Anyone who is listening to know that you're not alone, and it is, as an empath, as an intuitive, can be a little bit challenging, but it also can be really magical and really amazing. And when we can connect with each other, it's even more special. So I just love opening up the space where we can actually just connect. Well, for you and I, Shannon, connect together, but also to share and to receive, from others as they're watching and listening, so that we're not out there. I remember a long time ago when I first discovered, I didn't even know what an empath was. I didn't know what that meant. I felt so alone, such an odd duck in the world. And yeah, so it's really important for me to I don't know, to kind of open space for all of us to connect, so that's not something that continues, where we feel like we're out there by ourselves.
Mm, I love that. And I want to add to that because what you said was resonating so much inside my body. I like had to grab paper so I didn't forget it. Um, you said that you're not coming on as an expert, and neither of us feel that way. We're not here to say this is the way it needs to be done, or this is the way somebody else says it. We're here just to be our authentic selves and say, hey, this is what we have experienced, and give it a try and see if it works for you. And then you also, like, as we are, what we do is we hold space for people. And part of, I think, I'm going to speak for myself, but I feel like, Anita, you just said this, is that we are including all of you viewers, in this space with us. Like, we truly are holding you, even though you may be watching this days from now, months from now, years from now. We're holding space for you in this moment. And we're our offering is of love, and our offering is of hope and joy in whatever way you want to take that in. Um, yeah. So I just wanted to add that. So thank you for being so beautifully spoken around that.
Oh no, I love that. I love what you just shared, and I'm in total agreement. And I love how you said that. And yes, I feel like I know Shannon, it's something that you've shared. It's something that's really really important to me as well, is that everything that we speak of and through is with love. Um, that is one of the tenets of who we are and what we want to share. So that is really basically the offering. We want to share love and hope and joy. That the empath walk that you take in life um, can be done with those and more, just to encourage and to let you know that yeah, you're not alone. And there are some really amazing parts of all of this. And yeah, hoping to share some of our stories, some of, as you shared, Jan, in some ways that we've navigated some difficult situations, what we've learned, how we've grown. I know, and I'll just speak for myself. I am a woman of a certain age, as they say. I have lived some years, so I am hoping there might be a speck of wisdom that might be gleaned from something I have to say, and I hopefully.
We're both the same age. So I think that was really funny the way you phrased that. And if you want, like, I'm not afraid of saying my age. So if
I'm
it,
not afraid either.
okay,
Proud
we
of
are
it.
the gorgeous age of 53. And so we have had some life, and we are excited to, man, we have some great stories. When we get together, we start sharing our stories and we're like, damn, yeah, we got to talk about that. So we're excited for you on this journey to be with us. We're excited for us actually to be on this journey with you. And it's really a reciprocal relationship. We want to we want to we want to share, and we want to offer that hope. We also want to help bring your vibration and your frequency up. We hope that as you listen to us, that you start to feel a little more joy, a little bit more happy. We When we were naming this two empaths and a glass of sunshine, that really is us. We're both very positive. The glass is generally quite full, and we're both a little bit of a sunshine. Anita radiates, and so yeah, we're here to raise that vibration.
Yes, absolutely. But with the acknowledgement also that there are days when it doesn't feel like that.
Yes.
Um, but when those days come and it can feel heavy or it can feel low, um, just that remembrance, that joy is there. I know that's been something that's been really helpful to me, that it isn't, nothing is there have been times where I felt like, okay, I'm going to be like this for a long time. Like this feels so heavy and it's not going to shift. And then all of a sudden something happens and it shifts, and that shift can happen so quickly. Um, and it's magical. So
Magic. It is magic. That's exact. There's no other word besides magic. And this is what we both do for a living. So we actually help people to experience that magic, and we see how quickly it can happen. I think that's what's so exciting, is because we're literally living it every day, and seeing it happen before our eyes.
Mhm.
Where someone walks in, I had a client yesterday walk in, had not been able to sleep in a week, she said she was in tears like all day every day for a week, and we were able to move so much out of her body that I got a text this morning. She'd slept amazing. She was feeling so good. Like, that was in one session. She just went poof. We just moved it all through. And it was literally in her, and she put that in. This is magic.
Mhm.
So um yeah, this is it's so exciting to be able to share, even a little bit of, like, when we talk about the hope, like, the hope is that we go through the stuff, and we, we're going to be authentic when we're going through it, and we're also going to be authentic when, or how, by sharing how we shifted it, how it changed us, or how it changed a client, because I feel like we haven't even talked about even the, like, bringing in like client, just little bits and pieces of like what I just shared. It's yeah, anyway, it's interesting
Mhm.
where this will go.
Yeah, I think so. I know this was true for me. I was kind of stuck between two models. I That spirituality model where it was everything is just rainbows and loveliness all the time, right? There is no like, oh no, I've had a bad day. Like that's always there. And if there's something wrong with you, if you have you're not operating in that mode all day long. And then because I am trained in from the therapeutic side, I felt like there's okay, I'm gonna have this like years and years and years and years and years of just going through and going through and going through all of the therapy and I love therapy. Don't want to make sure I put out there. There's a place for it. I think it's wonderful. There are a lot of fabulous therapists. My therapist that I work with, she did EMDR. She was amazing. I love her. There's a place and time for everything, but I think I know personally I was caught between this almost like two competing ways of being, right? Where it's, oh, I'm going to be all the way over here where everything's just wonderful, or I'm going to be in the weeds all day long, constantly, which is kind of scary when you think about healing work and trying to, find yourself and reach that authenticity, where you're just like, oh, it's going to just be this daily, daily thing. Um, and I've discovered that it's neither. Right. Um, it's like life. There's much more variability to it. There's much more um, interesting things about it. And it is when you can kind of, I don't want to say let those go, but like kind of like recognize that those are just ways of being that we were taught, that we were shown, and get connected to the path that's right for you personally, you can then take this piece and this piece and this piece and this piece, and all of a sudden it becomes your path. And when it's your path, it feels different. And that's when those magical moments can happen because they are connected to you, your authenticity, what you need personally, as opposed to a prescribed, like, you do it this way or it looks like this. You can pick and choose then what works for you. And that's something that I've discovered has been really helpful to me as I've kind of navigated this journey as an empath as well, because I think so often too, it's like empaths are this, empaths do this. And then if you don't fit in, you're like, oh, well, then I guess that's just not my experience. Um, I know, Shannon, you are all about authenticity. And yeah, so we're huge advocates of discovering your path, your way, who you are in all of it. I know that's really important to me, and I know it's really important to Sharon. That's Shannon as how she lives her life. So,
Oh my gosh, I love that. And I think that you spoke it exactly the way that I have seen it as well, that there is this one side where it's basically spiritual bypassing. It's like positivity, everything, da 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 da, and we're just not going to talk it. And to me that's like, well, we're just going to take all of those feelings and we're going to shove it under the rug. We're going to put the rug over the top. It looks clean. So we're going to say, "Hey, this looks great." But that ickiness is still going to remain there. And then, or there's this other version that says, healing is so hard. Healing, like you said, is being stuck in the weeds, and it's so painful, and it takes so long, but it's so worth it. Da 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 da. And I'm like, what the fuck? Excuse my language, but literally, neither of those appeal to me, and
mhm.
that has not been my experience for my personal self with healing, and it is not for any of my clients either, right? So being able to like actually take what's under the rug and move it through, and then there's joy, and then there's ease, and then the positivity comes. um I actually I was in a conversation with somebody years ago, and they had we're kind of on this diatribe of toxic positivity. And it wasn't meant to be directed, but because I'm an extremely positive person, it kind of felt directed at somebody like myself. Um, and so I felt the need to kind of like hmm, bring it up and talk about it more because toxic positivity is because it's a buzzword, right? People talk about it. And this is a great discussion topic for us. Um, but it is it is about ignoring what's really there and just covering it, moving past it, moving over it. That doesn't take it out of your body. It is toxic because we're leaving all the toxins, all those emotions stuck in the body. And that's going to cause havoc someday, somewhere, somehow, whether we whether we believe that or not, it's going to come out some way. So we want to offer like I'll speak for me. I want to offer you the knowledge that when you tune into your body and you find those little pieces that are stuck and they feel a certain way, or they create sensations in the body, it's there for a reason. Your body is asking you to help move it through. Your body is requesting help. And then once you release that and you start to delayer all these pieces, this is when the healing begins, and also it changes lives. This is when your intuition is going to come in. This is when um, your empathy is going to start to make sense. Because when we're overloaded with all of our own stuff, and then everybody else's, as a sensitive empath, you're bringing in their stuff too, you can't see the world with clarity. You can't feel your body with clarity because you're overloaded with everybody's stuff. So you start delayering all this stuff, and all of a sudden it is like the world opens up, the clouds go away. You can find your boundaries, you can find joy, you can find your intuition coming online, like all of that just by delayering.
Mhm. Oh, absolutely. Yes. Thank you so much for sharing that. That's beautiful. I totally agree. It is when we are not attuned to what's happening within, it's really hard then to hear our inner voice, hear our intuition, connect. And it's for a lot of us empaths who have lived some interesting lives, we'll say, have been through some things. It a lot a lot of what we felt just was not, it wasn't safe to be felt at the time. It wasn't safe to be held or seen or expressed at the time. And so it's kind of hanging around waiting for that to happen. And when that comes and we can actually create a safe space for it and create uh, just this kind of container for it to be seen and to be held and to be embraced for what it was. Which I have to say, by the way, empaths are fabulous at doing for others and struggle a little bit doing for themselves. But it's like such a powerful thing to be able to learn how to do it for yourself. And it doesn't feel safe when you first start doing it, but to be able to do that for yourself, that is where, for me at least personally, or true healing really started. To be able to release that, because I had held it so tight, because it really wasn't, no one was coming to see it or to help, and being able to let that out and just witness it and give it the self-compassion and give it the love that it needed at the time, right? Because at the time it just really there wasn't there wasn't, to be honest, for me, there was nobody there to do that for. Yeah, and was too little to know how to do that for myself. So being able to kind of just, and it's what's so interesting about it. I don't know if you've noticed this with your clients, Shannon. I know personally, and with my clients, we don't have to do a deep dive like history, you know, tell me all the stories and all the things. Well, that's not, which is I'm not saying there isn't value in that, and there are going to be times when you do that, and there are times that I've done that. It's been really important for me to make connections in that way. But when it came to the releasing of some of this, it was just it wasn't necessary, and that just felt so good to just have that just come through, witness it and say, oh, wow, yeah, this is probably layers back, years back. I can get into the neuroscience about it, but I won't right now. And it is, all I can say is that, what you shared is just so true, because those are those moments where it's just, oh my gosh, you just feel like this moment of freedom, this moment of like, expansion and freedom. It's like, oh my goodness, that's it. That's it. I just wanted that. Um, I just wanted to be seen. So,
I love that, and I want to jump on, because freedom is so. One a person asked me if I could describe my work once, they in one word, and I was like, freedom. That, like, it is freedom of body, freedom of mind, freedom of heart. Like, everything begins to lift, and all of a sudden you just have this expansion, and this lightness, because you're not being trapped and feeling that contraction and all, and with the weight and all the different things. And it's just this incredible sense of freedom that permeates every cell, and you just feel like you can take on the world and nothing's going to stop you. I think that I would like every human in the world to feel this, and I don't think that it is, and that's regardless of age, gender. um, Everyone should feel this, and if they did, the world would be a lot more peaceful and loving and kind, because I think it is the heaviness, it is that the layers of pain, the layers of whether that's emotional pain or physical pain, that age us, that make us grumpy, that make us lose sight of the joy that this life is meant to be.
yeah, I mean, it's protective, isn't it? Those layers are there for a reason. As we keep saying layers, all those patterns, all those learned ways of coping, all of that kind of heaviness that we carry, it's protective. It's all there because at the time, it was just too difficult to to navigate, to experience. And as an empath, it is, I can speak from personal experience and working with empaths as well. Um, it can be it can be really difficult to walk through life sensitive, because everything just feels like the volume is turned up. And so sometimes those layers are protective in order to keep us from feeling such a high volume. And I'm trying to remember how you said it, but when we come into that, like, oh, we're going to release some of this, we're going to express what's really here, there is that connection to that authenticity that I think you're referencing. That is that joy. It's that joy of, oh, there I am. I haven't felt you or seen you for a while. Always, always, always have been here. Oh, there you are. And there's this connection that it ultimately then becomes a resource for, as we go through the next, as we explore this part, as we heal this part, as we step into this. It's now a resource, and it's a remembrance, and it's, oh yeah, I don't want to go back. I don't want to go back to not knowing this, not knowing her, not knowing them, not knowing, you know, this soul, this, how, whatever reference, whatever you choose in the words to describe. Um, yeah, I don't want to go back. And then that helps you to kind of builds that resilience too, in a way, because it creates that safety You've got the safe container now to help navigate that because you're connected. You're connected to that.
Mm, I love it. So true in every way. And something that you said reminded me of something that I want to share, because I think this will be really helpful for a lot of you empaths out there, or sensitives. And we should go into eventually uh, describing the difference between sensitives and empaths, but I don't want to lose my track of thought here. So, as an empath going through the world, and because you're so easy to just like pick up things here and there and just store them in your body, um, you're also coming in with, you've got your intergenerational stuff that's coming, you've got your, and this is for everybody, this is not just for empaths. You also have your past life issues that come in and kind of hang around and create chaos and all of that. And, um, you know, this just happened recently with a client where we were releasing some energetic work, emotional energetic work, but it had come in during the when she was an infant in her mother's belly. And people come up and they touch mom's belly, family members, friends, and they took that energy. They took that, they wanted, they're such a sensitive empath, and they always are so loving. Their soul just was like, "Oh, let me help you." So they just sucked it in just from being touched. Mom's belly was being touched. And I think that's why sometimes we become overwhelmed, because there's so much as an empath just living in your body consistently, and you're kind of like picking up from, you know, random strangers. They're out, you're at the grocery store and you see somebody, and all of a sudden, like, oop, you're just going to take that in too. Um, so doing this work that we've been doing on ourselves. And when we say this work, I want to say that meaning tons of different modalities, we're not saying there is one way. That is not, Anita and I believe that your self path and yourself in your healing and all of that is going to be very individual to you. We may not even be the ones that you want to be listening to. We may not even have the modality that you need the most. But we want you to go to your path, to see what works for you. But meaning that this work, as you move forward and you start to just like delayer, um, is going to be so incredibly helpful, because you're releasing so much that is not your own, and you're just dragging around with you right now. That sucks. I remember that. I remember how heavy life felt. I was not a glass of sunshine back then.
Oh, absolutely. It is, to your point, I remember the first time I recognized, and I didn't even, I had read an article on empaths. So the first time I had ever read anything about it, and everything resonated. And I was like, for the first time, I'm like, oh, I'm seen. I can't believe this. So I had this information in my head, and I went to the drugstore. I had to, whatever, pick up whatever I'm picking up, and went to the cashier. And all of a sudden, I felt completely nervous, like butterflies in my stomach. I'm starting to sweat, and I'm thinking, what am I thinking about that's making me like this? What here, the checkout, the kid at the checkout was so nervous. It was his first day, and he messed something up. He's like, "I'm so sorry. I'm so nervous. It's my first day. I can't believe that I'm gonna get a manager, whatever." And, oh my goodness, what I'm feeling is his nervousness. And it just clicked for the first time how much I had been carrying, how much I like just tuned in immediately. I wasn't even thinking anything of it. And what's hard as an empath sometimes is that because it's inside of you, you think it's you, and you carry this. You're like, oh, and my first instinct was, well, what's wrong with me? Why am I thinking this? And it was all his energy. And I was like this open, just signals just going straight in. And it was unbelievable. I can't even remember how many years ago that was. And it was life-changing to have that recognition that not everything that's inside that I'm feeling, these sensations, belong to me. And as I started paying closer attention, I noticed how much I was picking up from all of those around me, and I had no idea.
Mhm. Yeah, and you really do think it's you, right? And so that just makes life harder because you are questioning yourself. You're like, I don't understand why I'm feeling like this. Everything in my life is going well. Why why am I feeling so anxious? Or why am I feeling rage? Or why, or why am I feeling pain? That was a really big one for me. Is that I would be out and about in the world, and all of a sudden I'd get this random foot pain or this random knee pain, and then I could look around, and then somebody's on crutches, and I'm like, ah, dang it! So it got to this point where I had to create these little, I would start creating boundaries when I went out, and we'll talk about that in other episodes of like how we protect ourselves when we're out in public. But it wasn't until I really started like paying attention to myself and how I was going to protect myself, that things, then I could start slowly delayering all the other things that were stuck in my body, but I had to stop the influx
Yeah.
and then I could begin to delayer. So that's a really interesting, like, whole conversation that I would love to have at some point. Like, how do we stop the original or the current present influx so that we can then release what was hiding out there for so long?
Oh, absolutely. I was very much a disempowered empath, I guess you could say. Um, and it was pretty rough. I think one of the key things for me was that awareness, that first recognition of, wait, let me pay attention to what is actually happening. Let me tune in to myself. Let me tune in to, who I'm with. I remember I was at work and a woman came into my office and she was in there only maybe 3 minutes and she left and I like immediately had a migraine and I thought, oh, what? And like I was fine. It happened so fast and so quick. And so I went downstairs and I asked her, how she's feeling. Is your head hurting? She's going, oh, this is killer migraine. Okay. But before that, I would have just assumed it's me. And then I would have gone through like, first of all, I would have beat myself up. How did I know? Like, how did I get a migraine now? What's wrong? I would be so hard on my body for, that's another thing we can talk about.
Yes, I was like,
It's a
yes,
really good
I'd love to
topic.
talk about that. Yes.
Kindness to your body, yes, because my body was my enemy at one point because I was feeling so much of that. I'm like, oh, here we go again. Here's another thing that's wrong with you. Um, so that awareness piece was really, really key because then I could start discerning what was me, what was someone else, and start to recognize that. Yeah, that was fascinating.
Oh, yes. Um, Awareness, I use this term with my clients all the time. Awareness is your superpower. Because until you're aware, you can't do anything. You can't change anything. But the minute you become aware, that's when you can decide to do something about it, whatever that might be. But most people go through life and they're just so busy doing life or trying to get through life that they're not aware of what's happening in here. Um, and then something else that popped up when you were talking about kind of like when you were first finding out about your very super sensitive empathic abilities. I remember 20, 30 years ago when I would go to any sort of Reiki healing or energy healing. And each time I would go in, they would say, man, your solar plexus is just wide open. Your chakra is wide open. Let me close it for you. It never stayed closed. Like that's my norm. Like they try and close it to be right back here. And for those that don't know, this is where your empathic abilities are, is your solar plexus chakra. And now I am so grateful for that. I am so grateful for that empathy and for that ability to feel what others are feeling, because in the work that I do, this is a huge part of me that I rely on. Right? Being able to attune to the client in front of me, being able to feel what they're feeling. And even if they can't feel it, to be able to say, um, you know, could you maybe bring a little awareness to your head? right? If maybe they didn't realize they were feeling a sensation of heaviness, or for those that are quite out of their body, but then even for those that are in their body, to be able to just go along, it makes our sessions run so much quicker and easier, because they can start to tell me what's going on and I'm already feeling it. So I'm like, all right, I know exactly where we're going to go with this, to release it instantly. And they don't have to go through a lot of dialogue with it because we're already in tune. I already know. So such a gift. I think that it it is a gift no matter what you do. It can be utilized for you. Your empathic abilities can enhance what you do. You just have to know how to let it help you.
I love that. Yes, for you. That is so different of a it's like a shift in paradigm where it's for you. So often I think also, at least from all the empaths that I've ever worked with and ever known, that whole sense of for us is very foreign because many of us are healers, caretakers. We are just we give. We're givers. We give because we can feel the pain in the world. We can feel the suffering. We can feel someone's sadness, and we want to help not only for them but to also to kind of help us not feel that. But and I won't even get into all of the because that's another topic too. I hope one day we can talk about the whole idea of empaths, codependency, like being having all of that, all of those issues. It gets a little interesting there when oh, how do I word it? I really believe, and I think Shannon, you agree, but please correct me if I'm wrong, that it is a gift that we have.
Yes,
um,
100%.
yes, absolutely. I know there's a lot of
Power.
yes, it is a superpower. But also, many of us have developed that gift in a certain direction because of our upbringing, because of a lot of what we've been through in our childhood trauma, those kinds of things. That is also true. And I think both can coexist. And I think it's really important to recognize that they are both that can be both there because I think so I've already, worked with a few empaths who are like, well, this is just because I had this horrible childhood. That's the only reason that I'm like this. And that to me, it was so sad to hear because yes, a lot happened, but also there's this giftedness that exists within you. And this can be used for you because empaths are natural givers. And so natural love like just want the love to flow out there. So when you can do that for you and learn how to utilize those gifts for you, that allows you then to give, to take care, to relate to engage with the world in the way that you really want to, in that caring, loving way, but more boundaried and a little bit more empowered so that it is working for you and not that you're just being drained and completely buried um, with this energy that doesn't belong to you, right?
Yes. I think so many people feel sorry for themselves. Oh, I'm an empath. It's really hard. I'm going to offer you a ton of compassion. Yeah, it's hard when you are a disempowered empath and you don't understand how to protect your energy and how to move through the world in a different, more healthier empath way. But it is, in my opinion, my biggest blessing, my biggest gift to myself is to be an incredibly sensitive empath. I can't even imagine what it would be like to not be that. And I would never wish to live a life without that. Like I feel like it's so much a part of me that if you took that out of me, I would be a shell of myself. I would not recognize myself and I would not want to live through the world like that.
Yeah, I feel that now. I have to say, I didn't. I really did feel like it was a liability. I wanted it gone. I wanted it out of me. I wanted it so far from me. All I wanted to be was just that kind of person that could walk into a room and not be affected. Their life seemed so much easier. My life felt really, really hard. Um, but now that I know the difference between that, now that I have discovered myself in it and discovered my connection to it, I would never give it up. Never, never. It is so a part of who I am because it is who I am. It is, and that's where that gift comes in. And I don't want to say gift because other people don't have it as a gift. I just, or the like, we're, empaths are more special. We're just all created very differently. And I really, really, really love the idea of everyone being able to operate through their own expression of who they are, full authenticity, every variability that exists. I love that. And I think it's time for empaths to value themselves and to be valued in the world. Because I
Oh,
think we offer something to the world that's very needed. I think who we are is very needed. And I think when we can begin to really embrace that part of ourselves, be able to work with it from an empowered place and begin to heal some of the woundedness underneath it, um, that, yeah, I think it's pretty amazing. And I think we're really needed.
I couldn't agree more. We are so needed, and it is now is the perfect time. This is the time of the empath. It was not the time before. But if you're on this planet right now and you're an empath, I'm going to tell you, you came to this planet for this moment. You came for this time and beyond, and what is going to be happening in the future. We are here to change the world and bring about a more heart-centered, loving, kind earth. So congratulations. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being willing to do the work to release and find your freedom so that then you can help change others in the world. I know this to be true. I know this without a doubt. Every cell in me vibrates that.
Mhm. Yeah, I absolutely agree. It's funny. I'm not the kind of person who would typically do a podcast, I have to say. Um, I've just really felt that it's important because that is exactly how I feel. I think it is really time, and empaths and things empathic, um, things that we represent, who we are, have been devalued through time, through lifetimes, really. And it is it is something that I know for me it was almost an embarrassment. It's like, why can't I be tougher? Why can't I just why can't I hustle more? Why can't why is life so, feeling like this to me? Um, but this culture that exists now, this hustle culture, this idea that, those types of things that we just naturally represent as empaths and intuitives, it just comes naturally to us, has been kind of sidelined for forever. And it is time. I totally agree. And I think that's one of the reasons why that we're here to speak into what it's like to be an empath for someone who's just coming to that discovery of who they are, to help just shed some light on the journey. And as I said earlier, perhaps, you can come away with a tidbit of wisdom that helps. I know I learn from people all the time. Um, Sometimes they say something that just hits. And yeah, so hopefully there's one thing that you hear today that you can take.
Yes, I think if you're new to realizing you're an empath, or if you've been on the empath track for a long time and you just didn't know that there was a different way that you could be, like a more embodied, healthy, radiant empath, and you want some of that, hopefully we can, help you get there a little bit more. And we're just, again, we're so happy to be here just sharing our truth. This is why we're doing this. I also agree. I never plan to do an empath. I mean, to yeah. I never sorry, empath is on the brain. I never planned to do a podcast. This all came about because Anita and I would just sit and we would just go down these rabbit holes together. And each time I would be like thinking, wait a minute, if we had recorded this conversation, think of how many people might have gotten like, wow, that's a really interesting thing. And it just might have changed the way they thought about something. So it all just derived from that. Like we love to chat. We love to be in each other's radiance and energy. It's a joy for us. And so if you get any tidbits from this, we're so happy.
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, I just love being here with you, Shannon. It feels really good too. There's so much joy here. And yeah, it's important to me to, I don't know, I never had, and I know I've shared just a tiny bit of my journey, but I never really had anyone who said, "Oh yeah, I'm an empath. This is like this was my journey. This is what I experienced. This was what it was like." I didn't have that. And it was challenging in that way to have to just, Judith Orloff's book was like gold when I first found it. That's her name, right?
Yes.
Forgive me if I botched that. Yes. Um, and it's it's just really important to me to be a presence in whatever capacity that I can to show that it's possible. It's possible. And we'll get into our stories eventually. We've got stories, but yeah, that's where my heart is actually.
You said that so succinctly for both of us. So thank you. And thank you, everyone, for watching this and bringing your energy because we are feeling it um, and we are appreciating it. So we send you a lot of love. We can't wait to get back to you and do this again. Until then, have a magical and amazing day.
Yes, and we will see you soon.
Bye, Anita.
Much
Love you.
love. Bye.